were taking selfies with Pudge. However, back at the base, the shindig had gotten out of hand. The crew had hired local dancers to perform for the mogul's arrival, but due to a misunderstanding, they had invited a troupe of fire-breathing hula gymnasts. "What is that?" the mogul asked, pointing toward the air raid shelter, where green smoke and the sound of frantic cheering were emerging. "An atmospheric pressure test," Mav said, sweat beginning to bead on his forehead. At that exact moment, General Juggernaut's jeep pulled up to the office. The general stepped out, his jaw so square it could be used as a carpenter's tool. He looked at the base, he looked at the mogul, he looked at the hula gymnast who had accidentally set her grass skirt on fire and was currently running toward the lagoon. "Sterling," Juggernaut roared. "Explain this." Barnacle chose this moment to miraculously recover. He sprinted from the infirmary in his bathrobe. "General, thank God you're here. Sterling has turned my base into a circus. He's kidnapped a sultan. He's hiding girls in the air raid shelter. Look in the shelter." Juggernaut marched to the shelter, followed by a trembling Mav and a smug Barnacle. He threw open the door. Inside were the three princesses, Pudge, and the mogul, all eating peanut butter sandwiches and playing a quiet game of bridge. "Director Barnacle," the general said, his voice low and dangerous. "Are you telling me that these royal dignitaries are hula girls?" Barnacle stammered. But, there were others. And the rum, and the smoke. "The director has been under a lot of stress," Mav said sympathetically. "Hallucinations are a common side effect of tropical fatigue. Perhaps he should go back to bed. For a long time." Chapter 4. The Nitrogen Oxide Nightmare. A week later, peace had not returned to Xanadu Prime. Pudge Plum was facing a fitness board. Director Barnacle was determined to have him discharged for general incompetence, citing an incident where Pudge had accidentally torpedoed a garbage scow because he thought it was a camouflaged submarine. "I'm a goner, Muff," Pudge moaned, sitting on the deck of the Striker. 7-3. "I'll be back in the States working at a bowling alley by Friday. Not if I have anything to say about it," Mav said. "We just need to get the director in a better mood. We need to..." Mav's plan involved a canister of nitrous oxide, laughing gas, stolen from the dental clinic. The plan was simple. Pipe the gas into Barnacle's office through the ventilation system just before the fitness board hearing. "He'll be so giddy he'll promote you to Admiral," Mav promised. The execution, however, was pure chaos. The crew managed to get the tank in place, but the valve got stuck. Instead of a gentle mist, a high-pressure jet of laughing gas blasted into the room. Barnacle, who was in the middle of writing a scathing report about Pudge, suddenly stopped. A smile, a terrifying, unpracticed thing, began to spread across his face. "Chucky Wacky!" Barnacle giggled as Agent Snodgrass walked in. "Look at your fat little legs. They're like little sausages." "Sir?" Snodgrass asked, horrified. "And Maverick, my old pal!" Barnacle shouted as Mav entered. "I love you. I love everyone. Why are we having a hearing? Let's have a party. Pudge is a hero. He torpedoed that garbage." It was a very threatening scow. It had potato peels. The fitness board, led by a stern admiral named Shoemaker, arrived at that exact moment. They found the director of the base dancing on his desk, wearing a wastepaper basket as a hat and singing a song about a lonely octopus. "Binghamton," Shoemaker barked. "What is the meaning of this?" "Hi, Admiral. You're early. You're a barrel of fun." Barnacle laughed, trying to tickle the Admiral's chin. Mav stepped in quickly. "The director is suffering from acute joy syndrome. It's very contagious. He's been working so hard on the Pudge Plum case that his brain simply snapped into a state of pure benevolence." Suddenly, an air raid siren began to wail. It wasn't a drill. A rogue drone was approaching the island. Pudge, still high on the residual fumes of the gas, sprinted to the anti-aircraft battery. He didn't aim. He didn't use the radar. He simply laughed hysterically and pulled the trigger. The drone exploded in a spectacular fireball. Admiral Shoemaker was stunned. Magnificent. This boy stood in the face of death and laughed. He's a combat genius. Pudge was cleared of all charges, and Barnacle was sent to the infirmary with a sedative and a very confused look on his face. Chapter 5. The Curse of the Striker. 7-3. Despite the victory, a dark cloud hung over the crew. A rumor had begun to circulate that the Striker 7-3 was jinxed. "It's true, Marv," Pudge whispered. "The original registry was Ship 13. Every crew that served on her disappeared or exploded. We're living on borrowed time." Director Barnacle, hearing of the crew's superstition, decided to play on their fears. He planted ghostly devices around the ship. Remotely operated lights, speakers playing eerie moans, and even a phantom figure that appeared in the lagoon at night. "They'll be so scared they'll beg for a transfer," Barnacle told Snodgrass, "and I'll send them to the most miserable outpost in the Arctic." Marv, however, was not easily fooled. He discovered the speakers and the wires. "So, the director wants to play ghosts?" Marv grinned. "Let's give him a haunting he'll never forget." That night, the crew of the Striker 7-3 died. They rigged the hover skiff to look like a flaming wreck in the lagoon. Then, they covered themselves in bioluminescent algae from the swamp and floated into the director's bedroom. "Barnaby." Marv's voice echoed through a megaphone. "We've come for you, Barnaby." Barnacle woke up to see 5 glowing, translucent figures standing at the foot of his bed. Pudge was wearing a sheet and clanking a set of heavy chains he'd found in the engine room. "It's the ghosts of Ship 13. Barnacle screamed, diving under his bed. "I'm sorry. I made up the jinx. I fabricated the records. Just go away. Give us the transfers," the glowing mouth commanded. "Sign the papers. Let us stay on Xanadu Prime forever." Barnacle frantically signed every document Marv threw at him. By the time the sun came up, Marv had a permanent contract for the outpost and a written confession from the director that he was unfit for rational decision-making. Chapter 6. The Great Payroll Heist and the Cyber Croc. The final challenge of the month arrived in the form of the base payroll. Barnacle, desperate to finally catch Sterling in a crime, entrusted Pudge with the transport of the money. "Take the shortcut through the swamp, Pudge," Barnacle said, smiling like a shark. "It's much safer." In reality, the swamp was home to Goliath, a massive, semi-cybernetic crocodile that had been released by a failed biotech startup years ago. Pudge was walking through the swamp, the bag of money over his shoulder, when he tripped, as was his custom. The bag flew into the air and landed right in front of Goliath, who was sunning himself on a log. Goliath, being a creature of habit, didn't eat the money. He simply clamped the bag in his jaws and slid into the water. "Mav, the crocodile has the payroll," Pudge screamed, running back to the hangar. "Are you kidding?" Mav asked. "The director will have us shot. $62,000? The crew spent the next 6 hours on a desperate crocodile hunt. They tried lures, they tried traps, and they even tried to reason with the beast. Meanwhile, Barnacle had discovered the missing money and had called for a summary court-martial. "I've got them! Grand larceny! They've stolen the base payroll!" The trial was held in the office. Pudge was acting as his own lawyer. "Your Honor," Pudge said to Admiral Shoemaker, "I object to the director's tone. I didn't steal the money. A crocodile named Goliath, stole it." "A crocodile?" Barnacle roared. "A likely story. Do you expect us to believe that a reptile is interested in GIDF credits?" Suddenly, the door to the office burst open. "Exhibit A," Marv said. The Admiral leaned over his desk. "Is that a bag in its mouth?" Marv reached in, very carefully, and pulled out the blood-stained, swamp-soaked bag of money. He dumped the contents onto the floor. "Every cent is there, Admiral," Marv said, "plus a few fish bones." Barnacle was speechless. He turned purple. He turned blue. He looked like he was about to achieve orbit. "It was a trap," Pudge shouted. "The director told me to go through the swamp. He wanted the crocodile to eat me. He's a murderer. He's a croc sympathizer." Admiral Shoemaker looked at Barnacle with pure disgust. "Director, setting up your own men to be